Hello, Allison.
Hello.
It's just you and me so far.
Oh, okay.
I'll pop a little message in the WhatsApp group, see if anyone else is planning on coming through. Nice to
Mm,
see you.
yeah. How's your day going?
It's good, good. I taught a couple yoga classes. I worked out, got a haircut. What else? Filled up my water. I have spring water here in town, so I go take it down to a spring and fill it up there.
Ooh, wait, that sounds so nice.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of turned me into a water snob too.
I'm like that with my distiller. I have a distillation machine, so now it's all I want to drink.
Yeah, I like don't fuck with tap water anymore. It's not to be if I really have to I will, but yeah. All right, where's this group over here? Here we are. Um Zoom room is open. Yeah, were you and D able to connect at all? I just was like having a meeting with her the other day. I'm like, I gotta connect these two.
Yeah. We chat here and there. I asked her like what her journey is like, and she mentioned the church as well.
Yeah.
And that night she was going to karaoke. So I was like, oh my God, you're already like applying yourself and putting in the effort. So that was a chance to practice effort-based feedback. So
Oh,
that was
nice. Yeah.
yes.
I know it's so funny. I always just want to be like, "You're so awesome. You're amazing," which is all
Yeah.
true. There's no doubt about it. But it's like, well, what makes you that way?
Yeah, and I'm really grateful for this concept of effort-based feedback because I recently realized I feel better when someone recognizes how hard I've been working on something
Hmm.
rather than just
Hmm.
hearing, "Oh, I like it," or "I don't like it." You know what I mean?
So powerful, and I feel like you would like to listen possibly to that Andrew Huberman lecture he does on mindset. That's largely what my presentation was based off of.
Okay.
I'll send it to you. I should probably include it in the lessons actually too.
Okay. Andrew, what is his name?
Huberman, you may have seen him like floating around on Instagram. He's a content creator right now. I'll send you the link. Huberman mindset. But stress doesn't feel good. Yeah, I had to review that whole thing of like reframing the mind as muscle analogy.
Yeah. I watched the link you sent of clarifying it, and I think I still need time to digest it. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Do you strength train at all?
I don't know. I every time I try to take up an exercise routine, oh, let me pause this before it makes noise.
Sure.
Yeah, every time I try to take up some sort of workout routine, I last maybe a week and then I
Yeah.
fizzle out. But I find that walking, like if I commit to walking every day, I maybe it's the New Yorker in me, but like I can stick to that every single day. I love walking.
Mm, mm. Me too. Did you live in New York?
I did. I was born and
Oh,
raised in Mount Vernon, and then I
wow.
went to New York City proper for college and stayed there for like 9 years
Oh,
and
wow.
moved here to Tennessee in 2021, and I'm plotting my escape again. So,
Okay. Okay, cool. Cool. Nice. Yeah, we were probably in New York at the same time. I think I went to college on Staten Island 2007 to 2011, and then moved into Manhattan 2011 to 2021, basically.
oh, in Manhattan. I was in Manhattan for a year in the dorms when I was in college. So
Okay,
that
cool.
was intense. I'm more of a Queens girl myself. I lived in Ridgewood. It was really nice.
Okay, cool, cool. All right, well, let's get to this. I mean, you don't have any interest in reading at all, do you? I
I
mentioned
mean, is it the same book, the
same
War of
book, yeah.
I mean, if that's what was on the agenda, I'm down for that. Or if
Oh, I
there's
mean, like you reading, like.
oh I'll read, yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'll popcorn it around a bit. And welcome, by the way, Deshaun. Nice to see you.
Hello.
Okay, so let me find where I put this Kindle, and then Deshaun, I loved your last video that you just shared. That looks so cool.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That was from the performance I was talking about
Oh,
that I just
nice.
did last Monday.
So cool.
Is this on Instagram?
Hmm.
I want to follow you. I'm following everybody in this group.
I know. I
Oh,
gotta get
please
it. I
do.
gotta get it. You guys all to follow each other.
Please do. It's my name, DeshawnJenkins.official.
Already found you. You popped right
Oh,
up, I guess, because we're both following Patrick. So I
perfect.
followed you.
You guys, I'm gonna
Oh,
grab a glass of water really fast. I'll be right back.
Yeah. All right. I loved what you said yesterday about how your calendar is calendaring because
yeah, I have to show it to you. Like it's really been awesome. Like I'm very, hold on, let me pull it up right now. Yeah. Let me see. How do I switch camera? Here we go. I don't know if you
oh, it's stacked.
yeah.
What kinds of things are on it? I can't see the text.
Okay. So
You don't mind me asking.
no, it's okay. So up here, this pink is that's from 7 to 8:30. That's my meditation and spiritual practice time. And then on Mondays, I do CrossFit and yoga back to back from 9:30 to 11:30. And then this is a meeting for my short film. And then like every day from 2 to 4, I have open creativity time. So for 2 hours, I can just do whatever I want to do. And then the purple, I can see now, the purple is I have ballet lesson on Monday, piano lesson on Tuesday, and then voice lesson Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
You
And then I
go.
teach yoga on the weekends, so that's the other light green. And then the green at the bottom from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. basically is like family time and sleep time. So I shut my day off at 8. And then I spend the rest of that day with like my partners and we just chill and then I go to sleep. So
intense. Wow. I mean, it's already intense, but also ballet. That's so involved.
so there's a few things. One, we were like with the calendar, you want to like put in the things that like you really really want to do. And I have a bar. My partners bought me like a portable bar for my birthday last year, and I've been wanting to use it. And I'm preparing for my, well, it was going to be a stage show. Now it's going to be a short film, my one person show, and there's a lot of movement that has to be in it. So I need to get back and like, my ballet. Not that I was ever a ballet dancer to begin with at all, but just, I want to have some technique and form together. So when the choreo comes, I'm prepared to move accordingly and have all my alignments and things. So
Ballet is legit. It's
yeah, it'll do it. It'll get that core together real fast.
yeah. I did a class like 2 weeks ago, and it was the first class I'd taken in a long time. But I'm a lot stronger now in other ways, and so it was cool to kind of get back. I felt way like all the pieces kind of came into place. Like I needed the strength that I didn't have before when I was taking ballet. In college, when I was taking ballet, I had no strength training, so I had no like posture, I had no frame. And there was just so much of like this for me too. It was like using, but yeah, it was nice being back in a class and like doing bar center and everything. It's really good. It looks so sunshiny where you are. Where are you, Deshawn?
Yeah. I'm in New Hampton, Middletown, New York, New Hampton, New York. And it is very sunny out today, like super sunny.
We're like gray and cold. It was like 60s the last 2 days, and then today's back in the 20s. So, all right, let's read a little bit. I want to see how far we can get. You both are welcome to read if you'd like. I can popcorn over to you. I'm going to share.
I will admit, I finished the audiobook, but there were so many like punchy one-liners. I know it'll be really helpful to hear them again. Like
oh yeah, this is a book that like it's just good to flip it open and like read a chapter a day or something and really meditate on the chapters. So we're just kind of going rolling through them, but I definitely would recommend people coming back and meditating on these. So I'm curious to hear what comes up for you even on the second go around. So you guys may have to help me get back where we left off, because I think we did this one. This was savage. This resistance and self-medication.
Yeah, last week got me together.
Man, he was like resistance and victimhood.
No, you're in resistance.
Choice of a mate, we did. Resistance in this book we read. Unhappiness. Fundamentalism. I don't know if we did fundamentalism.
I don't think we did. That doesn't sound familiar.
I feel like we stopped right after it was like resistance, and then My mind's drawing a blank right now.
I
I
know
don't.
we read this one because I was very interested in it.
Yes.
They said he should be a novelist, and he's like, he finally just went ahead and did it.
Hmm.
So I guess I'll just start here, and if it feels like we're repeating ourselves, we can jump forward. So, resistance and unhappiness. What does resistance feel like? First, unhappiness. We feel like hell. A low grade misery pervades everything. We're bored, we're restless. We can get no satisfaction. There's guilt, but we can't put our finger on the source. We want to go back to bed. We want to get up and party. We feel unloved and unlovable. We're disgusted. We hate our lives. We hate ourselves. Unalleviated, resistance mounts to a pitch that becomes unendurable. At this point, vices kick in: dope, adultery, web surfing. Beyond that, resistance becomes clinical: depression, aggression, dysfunction, then actual crime and physical self destruction. Sounds like life, I know. It isn't, it's resistance. What makes it tricky is that we live in a consumer culture that's acutely aware of this unhappiness and has massed all its profit-seeking artillery to exploit it. By selling us a product, a drug, a distraction. John Lennon once wrote, "Well, you think you're so clever and classless and free, but you're all fucking peasants as far as I can see." As artists and professionals, it is our obligation to enact our own internal revolution, a private insurrection inside our own skulls. In this uprising, we free ourselves from the tyranny of consumer culture. We overthrow the programming of advertising, movies, video games, magazines, TV, and MTV, by which we have been hypnotized from the cradle. We unplug ourselves from the grid by recognizing that we will never cure our restlessness by contributing our disposable income to the bottom line of Bullshit Inc., but only by doing our work. Wow, that was a lot.
Mm.
Allison, you want to read the next one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Resistance and fundamentalism. The artist and the fundamentalist both confront the same issue, the mystery of their existence as individuals. Each asks the same questions. Who am I? Why am I here? What is the meaning of my life? At more primitive stages of evolution, humanity didn't have to deal with such questions. In the states of savagery, of barbarism, in nomadic culture, medieval society, in the tribe and the clan, one's position was fixed by the commandments of the community. It was only with the advent of modernity, starting with the ancient Greeks, with the birth of freedom and of the individual, that such matters ascended to the fore. These are not easy questions. Who am I? Why am I here? They're not easy because the human being isn't wired to function as an individual. We're wired tribally to act as part of a group. Our psyches are programmed by millions of years of hunter-gatherer evolution. We know what the clan is. We know how to fit into the band and the tribe. What we don't know is how to be alone. We don't know how to be free individuals. The artist and the fundamentalist arise from societies at differing stages of development. The artist is the advanced model. His culture possesses affluence, stability, enough excess of resource to permit the luxury of self-examination. The artist is grounded in freedom. He is not afraid of it. He is lucky. He was born in the right place. He has a core of self-confidence, of hope for the future. He believes in progress. And I think you skipped a page.
Sorry, sometimes there's a little lag there.
It's okay. He believes in progress and evolution. His faith is that humankind is advancing, however haltingly and imperfectly, toward a better world. The fundamentalist entertains no such notion. In his view, humanity has fallen from a higher state. The truth is not out there awaiting revelation. It has already been revealed. The word of God has been spoken and recorded by his prophet, be he Jesus, Muhammad, or Karl Marx. Fundamentalism is the philosophy of the powerless, the conquered, and the displaced and the dispossessed. Its spawning ground is the wreckage of political and military defeat, as Hebrew fundamentalism arose during the Babylonian captivity, as white Christian fundamentalism appeared in the American South during Reconstruction, as the notion of the master race evolved in Germany following World War I. In such desperate times, the vanquished race would perish without a doctrine that restored hope and pride. Islamic fundamentalism ascends from the same landscape of despair and possesses the same tremendous and potent appeal. What exactly is this despair? It is the despair of freedom, the dislocation and emasculation experienced by the individual cut free from the familiar and comforting structures of the tribe and the clan, the village and the family. It is the state of modern life. The fundamentalist, or more accurately, the beleaguered individual who comes to embrace fundamentalism, cannot stand freedom. He cannot find his way into the future, so he retreats to the past. He returns in imagination to the glory days of his race and seeks to reconstitute both them and himself in their purer, more virtuous light. He gets back to basics, to fundamentals. Fundamentalism and art are mutually exclusive. There is no such thing as fundamentalist art. This does not mean that the fundamentalist is not creative. Rather, his creativity is inverted. He creates destruction. Even the structures he builds, his schools and networks of organization, are dedicated to annihilation of his enemies and of himself. But the fundamentalist reserves his greatest creativity for the fashioning of Satan, the image of his foe, in opposition to which he defines and gives meaning to his own life. Like the artist, the fundamentalist experiences resistance. He experiences it as temptation to sin. Resistance to the fundamentalist is the call of the evil one, seeking to seduce him from his virtue. The fundamentalist is consumed with Satan, whom he loves as he loves death. Is it coincidence that the suicide bombers of the World Trade Center frequented strip clubs during their training, or that they conceived of their reward as a squadron of virgin brides and the license to ravish them in the flesh pots of heaven? The fundamentalist hates and fears women because he sees them as vessels of Satan, temptresses like Delilah who seduced Samson from his power. To combat the call of sin, i.e., resistance, the fundamentalist plunges either into action or into the study of sacred texts. He loses himself in these, much as the artist does in the process of creation. The difference is that while the one looks forward, hoping to create a better world, the other looks backward, seeking to return to a purer world from which he and all have fallen. The humanist believes that humankind, as individuals, is called upon to co-create the world with God. This is why he values human life so highly. In his view, things do progress, life does evolve. Each individual has value, at least potentially in advancing this cause. The fundamentalist cannot conceive of this. In his society, dissent is not just crime, but apostasy. It is heresy, transgression against God himself. When fundamentalism wins, the world enters a dark age. Yet still, I can't condemn one who is drawn to this philosophy. I consider my own inner journey, the advantages I've had of education, affluence, family support, health, and the blind good luck to be born American. And still, I have learned to exist as an autonomous individual, if indeed I have, only by a whisker, and at a cost I would hate to have to reckon up. It may be that the human race is not ready for freedom. The air of liberty may be too rarefied for us to breathe. Certainly, I wouldn't be writing this book on this subject if living with freedom were easy. The paradox seems to be, as Socrates demonstrated long ago, that the truly free individual is free only to the extent of his own self-mastery, while those who will not govern themselves are condemned to find masters to govern over them. Oof.
God damn, that was like, whew. We gotta pause
So
after
many
that.
things coming to mind. Yeah. There's this poem, I forget, I have it in my bookmarks. I'll find who wrote it, but it's basically about mediocrity and how it
Mm,
turns into sort of like fundamentalist behavior and like
mm,
us versus them mentality. If Can I read it real quick if that's
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, share it.
Let me pull it up. Verse. Okay. It's Bukowski. Okay, so here's the poem. There is enough treachery, hatred, violence, absurdity in the average human being to supply any given army on any given day. And the best at murder are those who preach against it. And the
Mm,
best at hate are those who preach love. And the best at war, finally, are those who preach peace. Those who preach God need God. Those who preach peace do not have peace. Those who preach love do not have love. Beware the preachers, beware the knowers. Beware those who are always reading books. Beware those who either detest poverty or are proud of it. Beware those quick to praise, for they need praise in return. Beware those who are quick to censor, though they are afraid of what they do not know.
mm.
Beware those who seek constant crowds. They are nothing alone. Beware the average man, the average woman. Beware their love. Their love is average, seeks average, but there is genius in their hatred. There is enough genius in their hatred to kill you, to kill anybody. Not wanting solitude, not understanding solitude, they will attempt to destroy anything that differs from their own. Not being able to create art, they will not understand art. They will consider their failure as creators only as a failure of the world. Not being able to love fully, they will believe your love incomplete and they will hate you, and their hatred will be perfect, like a shining diamond, like a knife, like a mountain, like a tiger, like hemlock, their finest art. Yeah.
God damn. This
Yeah.
is like we're getting a sermon today between that chapter and this poem. It's so much. It's
Yeah.
pretty heavy too. And I think
Mhm.
it ties a little bit into the conversation we were having really at the end of the call yesterday of like what happens if you don't integrate your shadow. And if your
Mhm.
shadow starts to rule you, then you start becoming motivated by evil and hatred and all this kind of like, I mean, so much of it was in there in the poem, so much of it was in the chapter that we just read. It can turn into a fundamentalism. I think sometimes we like reserve these, I don't want to call it a label per se, but we reserve it for these very extreme examples or just what we've been taught is fundamentalist behavior. But the fact of the matter is, it's like, I like this because it's like this exists in every single one of us. The capacity for this exists in every single one of us. And that's what he's saying here is the journey between the artist and the fundamentalist, the humanist, and the distinction between the humanist and the fundamentalist, for example. And they're actually made up of the same stuff. And they even have similar values. Like that was something that came up early on in the chapter. Oh yeah, all the stuff going back to like us as tribal people. Spiral dynamics was coming up for me again with that. It's like these stages of development. I think it's like, yeah, one of the first sentences in the third paragraph, the artist and the fundamentalist arrive from societies at differing stages of development. So it's almost an opportunity for us to look back and see like, oh, there was kind of a time and place for fundamentalism. It happened, we learned what we learned. Maybe it was like initially positively intentioned, but it didn't go over well. And so we evolved out of it. We will always evolve out of whatever current problem we're facing if we're able to, or the problem will, overthrow us essentially. But we solve, like, the current stage exists for the problems it had to solve for in the last stage. It's very interesting. And the artist is the more advanced stage. It's the more advanced model. If we did take it back to the spiral really quick, it would look like, let me see. just because he mentions these like hunter-gatherer stage, I'm going to use this one. It doesn't show the spiral, and actually the colors are slightly different, which is so annoying. It's like, why didn't you just make the colors consistent? Because it's nice to be able to refer this to the stages by their colors. But anyways, the principle is still the same. Really, like these hunter-gatherer tribes that he's talking about that we evolved out of, we're looking at like archaic, infrared, and spiral dynamics beige, they say. Also here a bit, this more indigenous, magenta, spiral dynamics purple. And that's starting to phase out still a little bit, you know, in tribal red. And then really, I think once this level comes online, amber or spiral dynamics blue, we see a bit more of an inclination towards transcendence and a bit more of like this, like, hey, this is the age of order. There was a lot of chaos back here in these first three stages, so much so that like they took advantage to see the world as enchanted. That's how chaotic and unorderly it was. There was still ritual, there was deep community, it was a group stage. And then you've got like this red coming on. I think sometimes like with these Game of Thrones, these old shows like this, impulsive, ruthless, you've got one, you know, nation totally completely going in and pillaging another. Not that that doesn't still happen. Courageous, determined, powerful. And then we come on up because every stage is a progression, so it becomes more and more evolved over time. And this stage is very interesting because I think a lot of us are still reckoning with shadows from this stage. And since we have shadows from this stage, and I really like to refer to it as blue because I'm so familiar with spiral dynamics. And what I mean when I say we have a shadow with this stage is like we've rejected it because it hurt us. It hurt us to have rules, and it hurt us to have roles. And it hurt us to have, if you look at this one, you know, roles and discipline and faith in a transcendent God or order. At some point, it didn't make sense for us, and so we rejected it. But I do think a big part of it is like kind of going back and reintegrating that part. It's sort of a conversation for another day. But honestly, I think the artist starts to come online really in the way that he's talking about it here in this chapter from this stage upward. Now, fundamentalism can kind of continue to manifest at each of these stages. It's just because it's when you become so affixed to your current worldview that you can't entertain any other one. You see some people with these postmodern tendencies who are like equally fundamentalist in what they believe in. And then he got to it at the end there. No, it was the poem, Allison, that was like, did you put that in the chat? Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
It was the poem that was saying like, beware of those. Yeah. So fascinating. I'm trying to find the exact line I meant. Basically, people doing the opposite of what they are signaling to do. Mm-hmm. They're really the ones who are signaling. I'm not finding the exact lines that were really speaking to me. I don't think you guys can even see my screen because I opened a new tab. But you get my point with that. Mm-hmm. Anyways, Deshaun, I think you wanted to say something too. I'd love to hear it.
No, I was just gonna say, listening to that, it kind of sounds like where we are right now in like our world, like directly. I mean, especially with our leadership choices, and just the whole arc of like the leaders in the world are very like fundamentalist, and us as artists are trying to fight against that right now as much as possible. And we actually are the adults now to have the voice. So we are, you know, coming at it a little bit differently and aggressively. So it's just interesting listening to that because I'm like, this is legit the state of the world now, which is, you know, I like to live on the side of optimism. So I would not hope that that is scary. I just hope it means that it's phasing out. But considering who holds the power of decision making, I would say right now, it's a little like, oh, girl, okay, you need to get it together. Because Yeah.
Yeah, when you look to like the world stage, if you will, I mean, it's pretty fascinating. I forget who I was talking about with this the other day, but kind of that opportunity for now, me, anytime I look out and see something going on in the world, I'm like, oh yeah, that's probably also some conflict going on inside of me, or like in my life or in my relationships. And this kind of segues into a conversation about self-sovereignty and what that really means. And it's a very, very fascinating thing, because I think that before you get to that awareness, it's just you just want to point your finger and be like, oh, it's because they're doing this and because they're doing that. And I completely agree with what you're saying, Deshaun. It's like it's kind of a joke when you look at what the options are for leadership. And to me, that's all the more empowering of a reason to like, well, let me just like control what I can control. And also understanding that like really everything is iterative. So I mean, even the idea of a vote, just by like the places that we shop, the people that you, the things that you listen to, where you put your attention, all of that is a vote of
Yep,
sorts.
100%.
Totally. James Clear in that book Atomic Habits, he has a really good analogy about behavior and identity change really being about kind of similar to an election. And every habit that we do is like a vote for that future identity, because habits are intrinsically tied to our identities. And that, in some sense, there's actually some grace and allowance there. It's like, oh, I don't have to be 100 votes all the time. That's like fundamentalist. I'm allowed to maybe be like 60-40 on this habit, but at the end of the day, the 60% is going to win out. This is also a bit of, the 80-20 principle. People get super gung-ho on like the latest fad diet, this or that. It's just like, just 80-20 it. Like 80% of the time, eat the stuff you know you should eat, and 20% of the time, you go enjoy yourself and have a little treat, and you'll probably be okay. So it's yeah, fundamentalists to try to be all in one way or the other. Hmm. There's something too with like, yes, there are powerful politicians that we can lend our ear to and listen to what they're saying. I wish it was easier to find them sometimes. They're probably not the ones that are being put in front of us. And we can also listen to artists. Artists are conveying a message. They have principles, they have values, they have stories. And oftentimes they're going to challenge us because it's abstract and it's subjective too. It's like actually allowed to and supposed to kind of be subjective. It's your own creation, the creation that's coming from that artist. So I was just talking about this in like a hypnotherapy session I did the other day. I did some conversational hypnosis the other night. It was so like out of this world, trippy and amazing. Have you guys ever
Oh,
done that?
no, I want to hear more if you're comfortable sharing.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of didn't even know what was happening. He just like guided me into this conversation. He was speaking pretty slowly. There were a lot of pauses. He was going back into a lot of the things I was saying. He was also using neurolinguistic programming. Is that NLP? Yeah. Which I've heard of and is kind of on my radar, but then I was like super sensitive to like, oh shoot, I just moved my eyes up to the left. What thought must that have been tied to? But no, he just invited me into this super open space and we went deep. And I feel like we're only just scratching the surface. It's the first of these 3 sessions I'm going to do with him. But one of the first things that came up for me was I want to create more. I feel like there's this like creative capacity in me that I've barely even scratched the surface of, in terms of whether it's content for you guys, whether it's just journaling, whether it's singing more, dancing more. I really feel like I'm being called into this season to create, and I'm also like terrified of it. And I feel so much resistance. It's like, oh fuck, have to do another video, I'm everything that he's saying in this book is like, oh god damn it, I feel so called out right now because I want to just go lie down. Or I just want to go out with my friends instead. I'll just like smoke a bowl instead of, recording. Or maybe that'll actually help me do it. But it's like none of that. It all actually just gets chalked up to resistance. And he said it, I think it was in the chapter that I read before you did yours, Allison, is it'll feel crappy. it might even feel like, you have a cold or something. Let me jump back to it and see what some of the words were. You feel like hell, low grade misery pervading everything. We're bored, we're restless.
Yeah.
And I'm in such a pattern of like, well, let me just escape that feeling by either numbing it out or distracting myself or whatever the thing is, when really I think that's exactly what we have to sort of push through and then just get to the action. Just get to the action. The thing for him, it's sitting down, doing the pages for 4 hours and then calling it a day. So that's that. There's grace in that. Like, we don't have to do anything perfectly. Just do it.
Mm. That was actually the part of that chapter that I wanted to respond to, because I felt called out by the part where I think he mentioned social media, or maybe I interpreted it that way, because that's where my resistance shows up. Like, I pride myself on not really being a consumer of media. I don't watch TV. I don't really watch movies. Like, I generally never have any idea what people are talking about. Like, oh, did you know? No, I didn't. Like, but social media is where I really, really get stuck, because if I'm being totally honest, doing the shadow work here, I catch myself having these like really intense thoughts of like rage towards what social media is. It's just like
Mm,
content for content's sake. There's no imagination in it. It's straight up people taking orders from robot voices, like on TikTok, especially, like, show us the third video in your camera roll. And then
yeah.
people upload it because a robot told them to. And it's like, when I think about it too long, I get really angry and I'm like,
Mm,
oh, where is the art? I miss art. I miss when people would be inspired and like, and then though, like, I don't think I'm wrong about that. I do think we all could benefit from like more art. But when I really step back and ask myself, okay, why am I angry? I think it's because like me scrolling through all of that to trigger myself and get angry is
mm,
actually me just not making my own art. Like, that time I
mm.
spent doing that, I could have been working on, the stage show I have in mind, or like my next music video or something like that. But instead, I use other people's mediocrity as an excuse to not do my thing and get better at what I'm doing. So that's, yeah, I felt so called out by that. Like, that's obviously resistance.
So well said. So well said. I mean, anytime we catch ourselves in this place of like, oh God, I feel these like anger, resentment. I feel it too. And I'm like, I know I'm trapped in it. I know I'm just kind of like a cog in the machine of all of it.
Yeah.
And I also believe that there's like room for some spontaneity in there, and there's interesting content out there. Are you familiar with Dan Coe?
No.
I think you might like him, because yeah, you can look him up and check out some of his YouTube stuff. He talks a lot about, us being in the creation economy and how we can kind of use all those things that you're just saying as tools in a way to also spread our message or whatever it is. If it's like for every person who sees post your third video, there, are they also seeing, the genuine, authentic thing that's coming from you? And that's honestly usually the hardest stuff for me to post or share. One metric for me is like, you guys see these little reels I put up. It's like that to me is a task that I just have to like commit to. I'd love to do, 2 a week. And it's as simple as like go back to the call, edit out a clip, put it into Canva, put it in the template, find a song, write a caption. And it does become a bit of a project. Like, I actually wrote out work instructions for it yesterday just because I find that like, unless I really know what the specifications of the project are, I'll just be like, oh, I'll do this later or whatever. It's like, no, I want to know how long it's going to take me. And that way I just carve out the time and you just do it 2 a week. Doesn't matter if it's good or bad. But then when you have a work instruction like that, you can actually hand it off to somebody one day when you're ready to like hire out and be like, hey, do this for me. Because it's there's value there. But yeah, anything from you, Deshaun? To me, you strike me as someone who's pretty good at putting himself out there,
So
visibility wise.
it's so funny. I was just getting ready to speak on the whole social media thing because social media is so like, in terms of TikTok, like I still haven't figured TikTok out, and I find TikTok to be a very loud app. Like, you don't have time to think because the app is
Mm,
screaming at you. You know what I mean? So like, as soon as you turn it on, there's a think piece, and there's a think pinks to debunk the one you just listened to, and then there's another one to debunk that one, and it's just like it's just this vortex of just like noise. And I try to, when it comes to TikTok, I try to like just post something if I'm going to, and then like get off of it, which sucks because in order to build an audience with these platforms, because one thing I'm always quoting like stars and stuff, but Beyonce's father, Matthew knows, he a long time ago, he talked about using social media as a tool for artists. Like it is a tool and you need to see it that way, not necessarily like an entertainment thing. And so keeping that in mind, I do try my best. I think I do feel like I'm a little better with it with Instagram, because I've curated Instagram in a way for me that my feed is nothing but inspirational quotes, fashion, drag queens, and like a couple of other music artists that I like. And so when I'm on there, like 80% of what I'm feeding myself are quotes about having positive thoughts and like this and that, so that even if I do catch myself in the thing, at least I'm feeding myself something worth feeding, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, that's legit.
Yeah, but even with posting for myself, like especially now, because like I'm full-time at home now for the first time like ever in my life, and I'm in a position where I'm being told focus on your art. As I'm 40 years old and I've never had this in my life, and it is overwhelming because I feel this like responsibility, and I try to figure out like a way to be like, I gotta post, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm not, if this is how I feel about it, I have to stop, because the last to do is, number one, feel like I'm pressuring myself to do this thing, and number two, I don't want to be inauthentic. I don't want to get on my social media and be like, hi, I'm this. That's not me. Do I have those days? Sure, but 9 times out of 10, that's not like, and so I do try to be mindful of that and engage, but it is a lot, like, and it's just the world we live in right now. Social media is kind of like your free website, portfolio, business card, like even I went to Monday, we networking at the end. No one asked for cards. No one asked for email. It was Instagram, like immediately, So it is it's a working thing. Like I know people whose careers are full-time, like artists who post, and they are social media personalities. So they get on and they have all the things to say and all of that. And I'm like, I want to just post my little artistic shit, post the behind the scenes, and then get off. Like, I don't want to engage in the social commentary. I don't want to argue. I want to invite you into my world, and let's be Mr. Rogers up in here. Like, that's it. So I think, first of all, thank you, Patrick, for that as a compliment, because I feel like I should be like doing more, but I'm figuring that all out and trying to deal with it, because it is overwhelming and it's just so loud. But at least Instagram is a little bit better.
Yeah, it's just so interesting too that like actually even just you sharing something that someone else put up, like resharing something, gives people an insight into who you are. And I know it's like from sharing other people's posts, I'll see who goes in there and likes those and things. And so there's many ways to do it too. I hear you. It's just like draw that boundary and then uphold it for yourself, because otherwise you can totally get sucked in. And if you get sucked in, just know, okay, I'm sucked in. Like maybe it's even like say like, help, hey babe, help, I need you to come over here. I'm like trapped in my scrolling in my newsfeed right now. Cool. Wow. We kind of got into a lot. We didn't read that much, but there was so much jam packed in there. So thank you guys for being here live. Thank you for your contributions. Thanks for sharing the poem. And yeah, I'll get this up in school and see you all pretty soon.
I have a random question about the doc, the tracker. Is that, did I miss it? Did you post it in school or?
No, I haven't posted it in school. I'll get it up there.
All right, cool.
A bunch of people clicked the link right when I sent it, and then I went back and granted them access. You should have yours, right? From our meeting the other day?
Oh, did you email it? I have like 5 different email addresses, so I just can't keep up.
I can check really fast. Let me see. Oops. Where'd you guys go? Okay.
I mean, I don't mean to eat up Deshaun's time with this. Like,
no. Just
bother me at all.
Okay.
No. I'm literally like, no lie. I'm building a set for this stop motion video I'm working on. And so that is like my project for today. And today I didn't have to like do anything. So you're good. Like,
Oh, okay, thank you.
I'm literally still in a onesie pajamas. Like, and it's like 1 o'clock. Like we're totally fine.
I'm dead. Okay, no,
Um,
I didn't share it with you. What's your email again?
Let me give you this one. I think I accidentally signed up for school and for something else with 2 different email addresses, so that's why the
Oh,
confusion.
okay.
Yeah.
oh, also, Patrick, can you drop the link to that prayer that you said yesterday?
Oh yeah, patient
'Cause
trust.
that
I'll put that in school too.
everything.
Yeah.
That prayer, when someone first told me that, I was like, I think I cried.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was just so much. All right, cool, you guys. It was fun hanging out.
Yeah, this is
I'll
awesome.
see you all soon.
Yep. See you
See you.
soon.